stereotype about LA people being really laid back. That's not true either. And then slapped him in his fucking face.
No, it was just, Gwen likes the ballet. I am not opposed. I do dig it. I'm not like one of those, I have to go because my wife wants to go sort of things. It's just like, I forget that it's a thing that people still do. And then she's like, there's a cool ballet thing going on. I was like, sure, let's check that out. I mean, in the same way that if they were like, there's gonna be a pretty cool professional wrestling match, I'd be like, oh, also, yeah, sure, physical culture. I don't see the difference.
Because ballet and wrestling have come up in basically the same sentence. Before we get too carried away, I should let you know what you're really listening to right now is the podcast based on that hit television series, The Big Bang Theory. This is the podcast, The Big Bang Theory. Hi, I'm Nick.
And I'm Kyle, but also this could be a Darren Aronofsky podcast.
What?
He also details the striking parallels of physical culture and sacrifice, mental and physical, between wrestling and ballet in two of his best back-to-back films, which are, of course, The Wrestler and Black Swan.
This is such a weird... I was like, man, I was thinking of Black Swan recently, but why? Why? And it was a crossover between two things. One, I recently... I don't know much about A$AP Rocky, but I started listening to the new album because of the new video that he put out, and I was like, oh, this shit's really good. And it's got Winona Ryder in it, and she was in... Well, Black Swan is the lady who was aging out as the...
Yes, she stabs herself in the face in one of the most fucked up scenes in that whole movie. Or does she, but yes.
Wow, I have to get back to it because, man, I saw that movie once in a theater with a couple friends, and it was cool, but I remember also being so annoyed because... I like that movie, and they're like, yeah, you like the part where they were, like, totally, like, going down on each other, right? And I'm like, that's not what I liked about the movie the most. But so anyway, the Winona Ryder crossover, and then also... in my real life, I'm so fortunate as to have some like real babe friends, but just as I age, so do they. Much more slowly, curse them. But trying to bring that up is just like the intense, bizarre pressure that you can be a Winona Ryder, you can be like well before whatever your prime may be. But society's fucking done with you. You're still going to be hot forever, right? But these goddamn standards of society, Kyle.
Yeah, that's... So again, because I guess we're talking about Darren Aronofsky in The Wrestler, remember? I don't know if you've seen that one.
Also, a one-timer. Loved it, but it's been a long time.
So that one's also, obviously, a lot of it is about the perils of aging out of your profession. But yes. Not only is there... excuse me... Not only is Randy the Ram getting too old to do the things to his body that the fans like, but he also has this sort of doomed relationship with this aging stripper played by Marissa Tomei. And that one doesn't work as well in the film because the whole idea is that Marissa Tomei at 40 or whatever is a little too old to still be a hot stripper raking in the money, and I am sorry to tell you, it does not work for the film. It does not work in any, I'm like, nope, still, yeah. I admit she looks different from how she did in My Cousin Vinny, but does she look less hot? Absolutely not. Would I give her all of my money in a second? Without a second's hesitation.
Yeah, that's one of those things where it's just like a little too Hollywood. Like, Mickey Rourke works because he does genuinely look like a sausage that's been stuffed over full of violent life experiences. But, like, Marissa Tomei is, like, she's, I think, after The Wrestler. No, definitely after The Wrestler. She's playing, hot Aunt May in...
Yeah, like a full 10 years later, and people are still talking about how ridiculously, unbelievably hot she is.
Yeah, and it's like, if you were to take someone that is like, not one of the most popularly everlasting beautiful women in Hollywood and turned it on to like your rando 40-year-old, then you'd be like, yeah, maybe you should get it finish your degree, But it doesn't make sense. It's not like the movie doesn't work, but and I've brought it up 100 times, but it's like Allison Brie and Glow. It's like, I know that you're not supposed to be as hot as your Liberty Bell friend, and they had to like uggo you down a little bit for this, but who are we fooling?
Yeah, I also think, at least in that case, and maybe I think in Black, or in The Wrestler, the implicit bias is Hollywood bias, right? Because somehow we're supposed to think like, oh, she is not, I just know how old she is, and the fact that I can see the number floating over her head just renders her conventionally less attractive, because that is apparently how, there was this whole thing I saw, I think in reference to Marissa Tomei, where it was like, Hollywood is so bad at portraying the ages between like 25 and 70 that like whenever there's any woman in any film between those two ages, it just always reads like Bizarro Land, because Hollywood just does not know how to deal with the reality of the people in between like hot young lady and, grandma, that it just gets brain wobbles.
This is, I think we can go on for hours about like women's bodies and worth. I feel confident about that. But to bring in a very relevant but silly example of this is, I can't even remember the name of the movie because they just discussed it on the Red Letter Media YouTube show. But it was a recent Lawrence Brothers Christmas like holiday romantic comedy, and I think that the median age of a brother Lawrence is at least 40, like maybe like 45. But not only are the brothers that are the stars of the movie like married to like 25-year-old women or whatever, their mother plays their grandmother. They aged her way up so they could relatively age themselves down. Yeah, it's weird. It's a hard time out there.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's the hating on like Amy Schumer is so relevant now that I don't even think it's worth pretending that like it's worth getting on. There was a moment where everybody loved Amy Schumer. Well, not everybody, but there was a moment when there was a real big Amy Schumer push. And then there was a real big, much more like disproportionate Amy Schumer, we all hate her backlash. But entirely outside of this conversation, she does have what I think is a legitimately good sketch in her TV show called Last Fuckable Day.
I knew exactly you're the one, yeah.
I can't remember all of the actresses, but she basically stumbles across a bunch of Hollywood actresses in like a field holding this ritual where they celebrate one of them's like supposed last day of playing a fuckable person in a movie, an attractive person. And Sally Field has a line which has haunted me where she's like, yes, in 1990, I played Tom Hanks's love interest in a movie where we were both aspiring stand-up comedians. And then 3 years later, I played his mother. And I was like, yeah, that kind of puts it into harsh relief, doesn't it?
Yeah. And not in a movie where like that was like, the weird dynamic or whatever. Just, yeah, sorry. No. I know what you literally meant. No, it's odd. It's very unfortunate. And you know what? I'm not going to stand for it. And feeling powerless to do anything about it. We're raising awareness, No. Where else are you going to get this kind of information in a Big Bang Theory related, not actual fan cast? You have a responsibility to the people.
Women continue. Okay, this will be my last attempt to tie it into anything remotely relevant. The woman who plays Sheldon's mom, who was also Roseanne's sister, Laurie Metcalf, has one of the weirdest monologues in any show ever in the weird failed experimental TV miniseries by Louis C.K. Horace and Pete. She talks about having a sexual relationship with her husband's father who is like a 75-year-old man. And she talks about, like, it is literally most of the episode is just her monologuing, like, seeing him shirtless performing physical labor at an age where he is obviously too old for it. But also it's natural to him in a way it isn't natural to the soft generation. And it just awakens something sexual within her. And yeah, it broke me. Something about that. Like, it's neither good nor bad nor really relevant to the conversation we're having. But I can't look at her without thinking about that performance because it is just such an out of left field thing to even exist that the specter of it has haunted me ever since the day it first aired.
I'm sorry you had to experience such trauma from. There's ways that, you know, you don't even realize it and you look back and you're like, Louis C.K. was victimizing a lot of us.
Yeah. His weird sexual issues pervade that show in a way that now we're all like, well, of course they do. But at the time, it's like...
Well, and it's one of those things, too, where it's like, I try to be pretty, like, intentionally apprehensive about taking one's comedy and, like, drawing what, like, they're actually, like, personally like from it. But then sometimes it's really hard to not be like, oh, dog, you were just putting it out there, weren't you? Gosh, dang.
Yeah.
We were really just giving you the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. We thought because you were lucky enough, it's like, it seemed like all comedians were talking about masturbation at the time, but then again, you were the trendsetter. You set the terms of the conversation. You're the reason all of those other comedians were joking about jacking off all in weird places all the time. It was you all along.
Yeah. That's, God, you know what? I don't even want to talk about Louis C.K. anymore. For real, that's such a.
No, that was the ice on. We have now brought down from Marissa Tomei to Louis C.K.
Oh, god damn! What an unfortunate rhyme, but but yeah, just so crestfallen with his whole fucking deal.
And now we can finally talk about.
Yeah, now we're back into the mood we need to be for the regular show we do.
Yeah. Stuart and Raj in a hot tub.
Well, okay, so this show, by the way, the one that we actually watched today, was the, let's see, are we on the fifth? Yeah, fifth episode of the 10th season of this American television sitcom series called The Big Bang Theory, and the official title of today's was The Hot Tub Contamination, the unofficial official fan summary of which reads, Sheldon and Amy try to work out their problems created by living together with Leonard and Penny's help. While Howard and Bernadette take a vacation, oh, that's a little misleading. Also, that was the end of the sentence. Raj and Stuart use the hot tub, uninvited. And so, something that didn't really yield any results, but I did go immediately into conspiracy theory mode when the episode even started, because even with the intro, they do a recap in this episode, which... Okay, I was like, man, what was the recap even about? There was so little that but I guess it had to, setting up, you know, the separate living arrangements. But including the recap, total runtime was like 19 minutes, 30 seconds, which is a full like 2.5 minutes than your usual 22-minute with 8 minutes of commercial break sitcom.
Yeah, and that's with, I should say, a lead-in that is literally just the first 2 minutes of this episode are fully cribbed from the prior episode, just recapitulating.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. And so, like, if you subtract that, it's a 17:30, and I actually feel like this wasn't like a great episode, but to give it credit, it accomplished a lot for being, I don't know, whatever production reason it must have been, a suspiciously short episode. And so, but like I said, like in spite of how short it was, I didn't feel like it was super obvious plot wise. I think this is an episode where I think it got a lot done. It just didn't have a lot of real jokes in it. And so anyway, now I feel like I'm just kind of rambling, but to blast back through these plots and flesh them out a little more. Yeah, the Sheldon and Amy thing is the exact same status as it was in the last episode, which is they're trying to experiment living together, and I feel the same way now as I did the last episode, which, hey, this really does feel like a part 2, I guess. That too. It's not, maybe this should have been a very special one episode of The Big Bang Theory of what it's like to try to live with a partner and the compromises you need to make. Except while Penny and Leonard aren't making any compromises, Sheldon and Amy are just like trying to get through it, which is really more and more just Amy trying to like accommodate Sheldon's intense needs as a totally not ever explicitly but obviously autistic boy. And so what ends up happening is they do like kind of a switcheroo where Penny and Sheldon end up kind of going off to gripe together while Amy and Leonard do the same. And one thing I thought is that if this were the Penny and Sheldon show, I'd like it. I think if this were about like...
That's a recurring theme, and I mean, it's been a while since we talked about it, but they have easily the best and most entertaining dynamic of anyone.
The hot girl and the autistic guy that just happen to be besties, and they're complaining about their not as cool partners that they can't relate to. Oh, that would be great. But that's not what the show is. That's just what part of this episode was. Curses. But I love that. Like, and again, not in a way that was like even like the funniest part of that is like they're in the car together, both griping. And, you know, the whole dynamic becomes about how, like, you know, God, like, it's kind of annoying that my partner doesn't, like, see me for who I really am and has all these demands and just wants to fuck me all the time when I'm, like, a person. And it's like, good for you guys. But that's kind of, you know, so they sorted it out, I guess. I don't remember the explicit resolution, to be honest. They figure something out.
Yeah, they just compromise, you know. They find an emotional whatever where they can be on the same page. And they're like, I guess we're going to be all right together. And they decide to share a toothbrush holster.
Oh, right. That was the symbol of the difficulties, which they, you know what? Oh, you just said toothbrush holster, didn't you?
Yes.
I was going to say, well, no, I'm not making fun of the term. It's just, in my mind, even the sharing of the toothbrush thingy, holster, whatever, I just kept imagining share a toothbrush, because to me, that's the more traditional symbol, but knowing that this is still a big step up for them, right? But yeah, okay, thank you for clarifying that, because I totally spaced that out. And then our other plot, such as it is Wolowitz and Bernadette are supposed to be going on their last vacation before this baby comes out. But unfortunately, Bernadette's too sick from having a baby inside of her to go on vacation. And so instead, they're like, let's just hang out. This sucks. Let's make the best of it. And Wolowitz is, you know, trying to be cute and playful, which is nice. It's also, I think, weird and gross, and the audience does too, about how the fact that Bernadette was just vomiting leaves him undeterred from whether he wants to, like, make out with her.
Not just undeterred, but if it were undeterred, I'd be like, well, that's sort of sweet that he's, you know, making her feel pretty. But seemingly more aroused by the fact that she was just vomiting. I think it's the part that gets questionable.
Well, you say that too, and I agree, because, like, the thing they don't joke about, but it's given Wolowitz past, it's, like, hard not to imply the joke is, like, this is not the first time you've, like, not let a woman vomiting and not really wanting to have sex with you be well, again, like you just said, not just a deterrent, you know? So good for them. They're working it out. But they notice down in they think there's like a burglar at first, because I can't remember if he just has to come through the gate. I think he comes through the front door, though, and has to, like, go through the house.
Them out. That's why they understandably are freaking out.
Yeah.
They hear someone entering through their front door without knocking or ringing or anything.
It's a possible burglar murder thing for sure. And but instead, someone gets in the hot tub and they see it's Stuart, because Stuart thought they were going to be out of town, and he just goes for it. And so they're kind of just griping about that. And yes, that's a violation. and yet I can't help but love Stuart's free living spirit, getting life where he can. But then when, Raj shows up, because he too, knowing they were going to be out of town, is like, well, I'm their bestie and I'm taking care of everything, so of course I'm entitled to out of tub, hot tub time. They both reveal, or at least one of them reveals, that they have a key that they just never gave back, so thank goodness for that. And so Bernadette and Wallowitz are just like watching, not so much in horror, I guess, just as like disbelief, as like how much their friends are like willing to like hop in and take advantage of this. Meanwhile, Raj and Wallowitz are like, well, also not Raj and Wallowitz, Raj and Stuart. Oh man, again, it's a different show. I wanted them to make out so bad when they both get in that hot tub. It would never happen in a million years, but like they start bonding, because at first, like, Stuart's under the water trying to hide from Raj, and then he pops out. But then they're like, okay, well, that's over with, so let's split this wine I brought, huh? And if they were just like...
Well, no.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, keep going. I have a thing about that.
No, please go.
I was going to say, it wouldn't even be the first time that, I don't know, but in prior times when Wallowitz has, when they've been focusing on the Wallowitz relationship with his actual wife, Bernadette, they've sort of shipped Stuart and Raj in the past, because I think they've even like lived together briefly and things like that. So it wouldn't even be the first time that
this was another offer to live.
Revisiting the tension.
Yeah. No, you talked about living together before. I forgot about that. Like, Raj even was like, hey, you can stay on my couch because... Oh, and this is another thing I thought was like a joke that... I don't know if it was a joke or it was just... Well, I mean, it was a joke in one way, but I don't think in the more malignant way I choose to believe, which is... So, Stuart's life issues continue, and I think he gets evicted. And so, Raj is like, you can stay on the couch if you want. And Stuart's like, I was thinking of like taking a trip down to Florida. It turns out that I have my best luck when the temperature and the women are both over 90. And I'm like, that's because you're a fucking black widow, aren't you, Stuart? Like, this is part of your whole insurance fraud thing. This is part of your whole Wallowitz's mom thing. Like, this is This is a sociopath who will take every advantage he can get. And when the times are toughest and you don't have your comic book shop anymore, and you got kicked out of your friend's house because his wife started moving in, you got to go back down to Florida and find your next Mark. That's what I think is happening.
I will not disagree with any of that. But the other thing as far as sociopathy goes, you're right. That implied is, but for some reason, and maybe this is me being crazy, but I think this is just how you'll feel too. The fact that they broke into their friend's house and used their hot tub, for some reason to me, that is like a playful transgression at best. However, the fact, I think it is revealed that the bottle of wine Raj is drinking that he is sharing with Stuart is actually also Wallowitz's. That he just took it out of like their fridge or their, wine cooler or whatever. And so in fact, not only are they sharing the hot tub, but they're drinking the wine. And to me, that crosses some invisible boundary.
So I will one up you on a real world example of this to say, I probably would feel the same way. And I have this friend who had someone that was like regularly dog sitting for them, and I guess they keep a bunch of wine on hand, and so they had like the everyday party wine, but then they had some nice wine, and they were like, hey, dog sitter, you can take like some of the party wine home if you want. Like, I have too much, so like, it's not a big deal. But I guess, has like ring cameras, and then told me, oh, but then I saw them take some of the nice wine, and I was like, I said you could have the good wine. And like, so I bring that up because like even that fine of a line between, no, you can, it's not a big deal if you come by, you're helping out, but don't cross this very clear wine line, because that's where the violation is. But it's real. So I'm with you.
It's just like, it's the hot tub I mean, they probably, I'm not sure Wolowitz is joking when he says, I don't ever want to get in this thing after Stuart was in it, which, to be fair, Stuart was naked, and it was very clearly his intention to masturbate in the hot tub before the garage show.
Kyle, whoa. Okay, so here's the thing. When he's naked in there, I find Wolowitz's complaint absolutely frivolous. Because you want to know what? It's soup, all right? If anything, you're removing the element of the microplastics of your shorts, all right? People don't like this when I bring it up in hot tubs because I'm like, oh, look at us all. Just one big pot of dick and butthole soup, aren't we? All right? Like, there's no getting around that.
You must be so fun to share any kind of membrane.
I am, all right? Because I'm real about it. And so I don't think that, to me, is an issue. But where are you getting this jerking in the tub stuff, buddy? Because my mind didn't go nearly anywhere
really?
in that
Not
direction.
Even when he's talking about how the jets are hitting his special spot?
Kyle, I'm going to ask this question. Maybe this says too much about myself. You ever tried jerking it in the tub?
No, I don't think so.
It's not easy, bud. All right. So maybe this is my lived experience, seeing this exact same thing with two different interpretations.
Well, obviously your problem was you weren't using the jets the right way, is what's implied. But
no, I'm not saying the jets are going to do their work, right? Like it's the jerking thing I think you're crazy about, but...
Very good. Okay. Moving right along.
If man cannot take advantage of the machines he makes whenever he wants, is he not a slave to his own creation?
That is the most profound thing I think that has ever been said on this podcast, followed by the dumbest. That was peak 2010 Reddit, Tumblr, because if man is not allowed to take pleasure from the machines he has created, is he not then in fact a slave to his own creations? Is something that should be like in a book, an academic commentary of Karl Marx. The fact that you're talking about it in the context of just getting a little extra zhuzh from the jets spraying on your special bits.
It's already such an expensive investment. What? You're gonna draw lines after the. He's got a filter.
And that's why we still do this, folks. It's not for you, it's for us. But
yeah, that's... I'm gonna... Other stuff happened too, right? I guess. I don't know.
We're not gonna top that. We gotta move on.
I feel like we kind of nailed it. Well, with that, before we move on to the thing we actually enjoy, believe it or not, I have to obviously tell people about the thing that we never market because we never do any marketing because we're bad at this. But we do have a Patreon feed where instead of just the bi-weekly episodes that are on the totally regular free feed, you can become a supporter. If you join our... I can't believe I can't remember now. We've got like a Nerdlinger and a Bazinga Boy thing. Whichever one is the one that's a subscription tier, you get weekly episodes where we just focus on things we're into. And to find that, it's patreon.com/TBBTT, which is the acronym for The Big Bang Theory. Patreon.com/TBBTT. Kyle, things we enjoy. You want to go first or shall I?
I will go first because mine's pretty short and sweet.
Cool.
I'm not sure how often I've done this before, but today I'm recommending a song.
Oh.
Which is a little weird because when you're recommending something that short, I almost wish we could just play the song for my time. But, you can just go and watch the music video right after this. So this was recommended to me by the TikTok algorithm. And I was like, I don't know what this is, but it's pretty sweet. The song is called Archbishop Harold Holmes by Jack White of the White Stripes.
Okay.
And I recommend that everybody watch the music video in which John C. Reilly plays the titular Archbishop Harold Holmes. And you know what? I don't know what it is. I mean, it's just two things. First, incredibly sick underlying guitar licks. Like, the entire thing is just underneath it. It's like, the classic just a dude laying down a tasty shred. But on top of that is basically, I think the idea is you are watching some kind of crazy street preacher, just hucking it up for the yokels, trying to, get some prosperity gospel donations going. And so I won't do the whole thing, but I'll just to give you a sample of what's like, here's the very first lines of the very first verse.
Oh.
Dear friend, if you want to feel better, don't let the devil make you toss this letter. If you've been crossed up by hoodoo, voodoo, the wizard, or the lizard, you got family trouble, man trouble, woman trouble, no light through the rubble. You're looking for a true friend or a true lover, or if you've been living undercover. Well, I'm coming to your town to break it all down and help you with all of this. I'm looking to help you find bliss. One day, one way, can't miss. And it grooves. I don't know what to tell you, but it has been stuck in my head. I've listened to it approximately 450 times since I first heard it, and every time is a blast.
I'm calling it. We're by far the most cultured Big Bang Theory based podcast there is out there. Number one with a bullet.
Yes.
Well, could you recommend artist and song again, please?
Archbishop Harold Holmes is the name of the song. The artist is Jack White, not to be confused with Jack Black or Mike White, both people who I get confused with Jack White, even though they have nothing in common with each other than similar sounding names and color thematics.
It's like that Bloodhound Gang line song, Bloodhound Gang song line, which is, I'm not black like Barry White is, I'm just white like Frank Black is.
Yeah, there you go.
You know what, Kyle? I'm going to do a quick double deuce here. Because I'm also going to recommend a song. Because I don't know if it was like before we started recording or not. So you have the TikTok make recommendations to you. YouTube is what gets me. And that is how I ended up seeing the most recent video and song from I think it's the most recent, from A$AP Rocky, which is for Punk Rocky. And I don't need to tell you anything about it. Just check it out. The video and song are both incredible. And so then I listened to the rest of the album and loved it, but you should start there.
A$AP Rocky.
Yes.
Interesting. Never heard of them, but I will check this out. Are they
He's a rapper. He's been around for a while. He's a rap hop hipper who's been around for a while. He's married to Rihanna.
Oh, okay. Then because I follow Rihanna on TikTok, I know exactly who this is. I just didn't know any of his music.
Oh, yeah. No, he's a real cool guy that I've just never really known much about. And so I guess this is my entry point to start exploring more. So I recommend it also to y'all. And then other quick recommendation, if you do listen to the bonus feed, most recent episode was about cosmic horror. And I mentioned playing Darkest Dungeon 2, which I can't stop playing, and so I'm also recommending that. A quick summary is, if you played the first Darkest Dungeon, more of the same, baby. And if you haven't really played it, it's something else we talked about in the last episode, as Kyle pointed out. It's very much kind of like having an old school D&D party style adventure, where you just put together your team of adventurers and rogues, and you go into a dungeon, and you try to loot everything you can, and either you die in the process or you barely scrape by. But, specifically, it is set in a very Lovecraftian universe. And so all of your heroes, such as they are, dirty, cursed scumbags. And you're going into weird villages full of freaks and cultists. And it's great. But it's also very difficult, which is intentional. It's not just like bad gameplay design, which, I'll say this. I'm so much more enthusiastic about playing this than I was Silksong. Silksong, I think, is such a beautiful game, and I find it very frustrating. This is frustrating in a way where at least it meets my expectations, where I'm like, well, it sucks that I died that way, but I saw it coming the second that one of my characters started having panic attacks in the middle of the fight and setting herself on fire. I see where things started coming off at the wheels. But aside from that, like, oh, and the only other drawback is it's so dense. Like I mentioned this to Kyle already, which is there are a whole bunch of character classes, which is great. There's so many I'm choosing not to unlock because I'm still trying to figure out what the handful I have unlocked to do. And not even just like in gameplay mechanics wise, but like there are different characters and individual enemies that all have their own custom tokens for special skills they have. And it's just a lot, you know? And so, like, I've been bearing through it because I think that I love all this spooky nonsense. And so that's worth it for me. But that can be brutal. But nonetheless, A$AP Rocky as a person and artist, and specifically the song Punk Rocky, and then Darkest Dungeon 2, available in video game places. Free on the PlayStation, whatever it is. Kyle, how do you feel like wrapping this baby up? Swaddling it, putting it in a basket, and sending it down the river.
Or drowning it in a hot tub.
What the heck, buddy? Again, we have so... why are your intent for a hot tub so malevolent? You know, that's...
I don't trust... If God wanted water to be that hot, you know, he... I guess he did invent hot springs.
Yeah, those are pretty nice, too. And people get naked in those, and they're dirtier than the people that get in hot tubs. I can tell you that for certain.
I do remember you being like, when I came to visit you in Montana, you being like, hey, there's only like 6 things to do here. One of which is go up like into the mountains and hang out by the hot tubs. I will warn you, you're gonna see a bunch of like weird, sweaty, naked people there. Yeah. That's just part of the experience.
Yeah. That's the temperature at which things get nasty, Kyle. You know, before it hits boiling, but when it's sweaty hot.
I think we gotta end it there.
Let's go. I'm sorry.
I would end it on that's the temperature at which things get nasty, Kyle. I think that's the perfect outline.
Yeah, well, we'll see. All right, we're still recording until I hit this button, which is right now.